Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 3, and today I'm going to be giving you part 5 of What If Naruto Had the Deadliest Bloodline. Remember to share this to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also go ahead and check out the brand new episode over on Anime King 2 of What If Naruto was Abandoned and Awaken a Kiki Genkai, and enjoy that guys. And also, remember if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Making family. And thank you for all of your help and support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be planning talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say we begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last time we left off, it has been 2 months since the formation of Team 7. As Danzo stepped inside the office, he was able to find out about Naruto's blood work. As he was curious, why was the kid blood being tested for a Kiki Genkai? As Hiruzen decided to not divulge that information to him, after all Naruto was his shinobi, not Danzo's, and Hiruzen knew that Danzo was a crafty, manipulative person, and he told him to keep his eyes off Naruto. As Hiruzen just watched as Danzo left, looking more intrigued, Hiruzen was also getting a bit worried. Naruto had asked for the permission to go towards a special training ground now. He had been spending most of his time in the space-time dimension. Along with the Funjutsu book, Hiruzen had the warning not to do anything dangerous, and Naruto obliged. But the thing was, Kakashi told him that Naruto asked him if the fourth was his father, and yet Naruto hadn't said a single word to him. Hiruzen didn't know why Naruto hadn't come to him with this question. He really didn't know why. If Naruto had suspect, as he wondered if Naruto had just disregarded it, he didn't know. That made him start looking on certain things that Naruto had done. Like in the academy, his grades were so perfect to make sure that no one would notice him. He didn't get above or didn't get below. It was like he was doing it on purpose. Well, given that he never had a specialty for ninjutsu, he was a really smart kid. But Hiruzen was getting a bit worried. Right now they weren't here, they were on a mission towards Land of Leaf. They ran into the Demon Brothers as Naruto froze up. He didn't understand why was he freezing up. He had to protect them. They were his comrades. They weren't exactly friends yet, to say that word, but they were his comrades, and if they died. As Naruto's body moved on instinct, his hand ripped through Gojo's chest. Miyazu was shocked as Naruto's eyes caught sight of his. Miyazu was pulled into a dark world. It was an illusion of Naruto's eyes. Miyazu literally tried to rip his own skin off after feeling his blood start to boil. It felt so real. As Sakura and the others were shocked by Naruto's movement. As Naruto looked toward his hand, Kakashi tried to console him for his first kill. As he did his best, the group decided to still go on to the Land of Leaf. They met up with Zabuza as the battle carried on, as Naruto had already sensed the other person they were watching, as he had to protect his comrades no matter what. Haku realized that he couldn't get towards Zabuza until Naruto was out of the way, as Naruto's eyes were already trained on him, so he launched Senbon towards Sakura, who didn't even see them coming, as she was pierced right in the neck. She fell down as Naruto rushed over as he checked her pulse. He felt nothing. Naruto lost it at that moment as he went into a fit of rage. He attacked Haku without any mercy. He shattered all of his ribs with a single punch. He ripped Haku apart before grabbing it as he started to drink his blood. As Naruto started going more psychotic, the bloodlust was too much for Sakura and Tazuna. Sasuke's face was down on the ground. Although he was barely conscious, he heard a lot of noise, but he couldn't really see much. As Kakashi told Naruto to calm down as he pulled out the sealing tag that Hiruzen had gave him. But Naruto was able to regain his senses as he fell unconscious. When Naruto woke up, he was at the house. He didn't know where he was until Sakura came in. She was happy to see that he was awake, as she heard that he saved her life and the others, as she just came in to thank him, as Naruto was happy that his team was okay. The time passed rather quickly after that, as Naruto was thinking himself as a monster because of the things that he'd done so far. And the scary thing about it was, he liked it. The warm feeling of blood rushed against his lips. It was amazing, and he was starting to hate himself for that. The time passed until we skipped to an unknown hideout, where the masked man, a man with a Sharingan, was speaking to a man who we couldn't see because of the dark shadows. He sent him towards the land of the wave to help Gato, who would hire their services for a rather costly amount. So the man made his way there. Team 7 was on the bridge until someone appeared. Kakashi realized that this person was going to kill everyone here as he started to kill the workers. He told his team to protect Tazuna, but as he moved towards the man easily outwitted Kakashi and knocked him off the bridge. As the man then held up his hand as Naruto watched the man form a spear out of blood as he tossed it straight towards Tazuna, right to end the man's life. So yeah guys, that was basically what I thought. You guys can switch across the place for yourself. So this means new episode. Tazuna had his eyes shut. He saw his life flash in front of his eyes. As he thought that he was dead, he saw that spear coming towards him, and he just closed his eyes. He wasn't fast enough to dodge it, but yet he felt no pain at all. When he opened his eyes, he saw the spear inches away from his nose to split right through his head. But he was being held. Sasuke was surprised. They hadn't seen when Naruto move. They just saw him holding onto his spear. The man, on the other hand, wearing the mask, was surprised. His red mask seemed to be made of a strange wood, as it kind of glistened as the sunlight fell on it. His two eyes were focused on Naruto. Impossible, he said. The spear in Naruto's hand suddenly melted away into what it formerly was, and that was blood, as it rushed back towards the man. He narrowed his eyes at Naruto, who stood in front of Tazuna. On the other hand, Naruto's hand was shaking. He didn't know what this feeling was or who this person was, but his body was not reacting kindly to this person, as he felt something was wrong. Who are you? The man's tone came out, it was a bit raspy. He sounded like a person that was easily irritated from the way that he spoke. Before any of the genin could answer that question, a volley of kunais came down, forcing the man to jump back, dodging each of them as Kakashi landed in front of his team as he was soaked. The rest of the builders had already run off the bridge. Take Tazuna and return back to the house, said Kakashi. Sakura was trembling as she felt the ominous atmosphere. But Kakashi, now! He shouted at her as Kakashi's Sharingan was already looking at the man in front of him, his hand gripping and tensing. Sakura was afraid as she looked towards Tazuna. Tazuna-san, she said, let's go. As Sasuke stood there, as he didn't know what to do. This person, whoever he was strong. And most likely he was going to kill Kakashi if they leave him here alone. He had to do something. He was a Uchiha. He was Sasuke Uchiha. He couldn't just... Sasuke couldn't finish that sentence in his mind, as it happened so quickly. One moment the man was standing there, next moment Kakashi was sent sailing as he crashed right through the metal beam. He was unable to keep up with the man's strength. Kakashi coughed up blood under his mask as his back slammed into the support beam. Sasuke's hand shakily went up with the kunai in it as he stared into purple eyes that just looked back at him. They seemed so cold, lifeless. The man pulled back his hand. Sasuke was knocked out of the way by Naruto as the man's hand thrust forward, piercing where Sasuke once was. You're faster than your other friends. But it doesn't matter, the man said. All of you will die. With that sentence finished, the man moved towards Naruto. As Naruto raised his hand to block, but the man went down and slammed his fist into Naruto's stomach. Naruto gasped, but he regained his senses and grabbed onto the man's fist. The man reached forward and grabbed Naruto by his hair with his other hand and yanked Naruto like a toy, like he was nothing more than a rag doll, as he threw him. As Naruto's back slammed against the railing, as he coughed up blood from his mouth. The man didn't move. Sakura heard something coming behind her as she turned. She quickly pushed Tazuna down to the ground. The moment she did, something whipped over her head. It severed several trees, just ripping through them. She saw it, thought it was a ball. A red ball that came shooting towards her. Before it could hit her though, Kakashi flashed in front of her. Lightning blade as it slammed the lightning blade right into the red ball. It tore right through the red ball as it dissipated in the blood. If you were wise, you would have stayed down and let me do what I have to do. The man reappeared behind Kakashi. Kakashi spun around lightning blade in his hand. The man ducked as Kakashi's eye locked with his. Kakashi tried to place him under a simple genjutsu, but the roles reversed when the man's eyes activated. As Kakashi found himself in a strange world, all around him was nothing but darkness. Trying to control me with your stupid Sharingan. I heard about you, you know. Kakashi, the copy ninja. But you stand no chance. You never did in the first place. Who are you? Said Kakashi. I am no one. Kakashi felt himself unable to breathe as he dropped to his knees back in the outside world. The man was holding on Kakashi's throat as he was slowly tightening his grips. Red vein rushed in his hand, but you couldn't see it because of the gloves. As he tightened even more, Kakashi's hands went limp at his side as his breath intake was running out. Suddenly the man tilted his head as a blade shot past his head, stabbing into the trees. As the blade then came to slice his head off, he released Kakashi and jumped away. As Kakashi collapsed, coughing and wheezing, the man then turned his eyes towards the blade. A shocked expression came over his eyes as he turned towards Naruto, who was still standing. I won't let you hurt them, said Naruto. As the man stepped forward, you were able to catch my spear. And now you have this. The man vanished as he reappeared in front of Naruto and grabbed Naruto's wrists. He then grabbed Naruto by the throat as he yanked Naruto up off his feet, as Naruto's hair was blown back because of the force. The man then peered into Naruto's eyes. Let me go, said Naruto as he tried to get the man's hand off. But the man did not even budge despite Naruto clawing at his hand. Who are you, child? The man asked. He felt something coming towards him as he tilted his head as a slow kunai passed him. He then turned towards the girl, who was standing there holding another kunai in her hand. She was clearly terrified. Let him go, said Sakura, as she pointed the kunai towards the man. He dropped Naruto towards the ground. Pitiful. As he looked over, he realized the bridge builder was gone. Sakura looked behind her as she smirked. At least Kazuna could get a distance away. She then felt the bushes in front of her move before she was pushed back by Kakashi, who brought his leg up as the man caught his leg. Kakashi twisted his other leg as he brought it around. It slammed against the man's hand. The bracer on his hand. The man smirked as Kakashi cried out in pain as he was electrocuted from the bracer. The man then raised his feet as he kicked Kakashi straight up in the air. Kakashi poofed away. The real one burst from under the ground. Appearing behind him is kunai outstretched as Kakashi stabbed the man right in his chest. Kakashi was shocked when he felt the kunai not going any further. It punctured the top layer of his skin, but it wouldn't go in. As Kakashi blinked in confusion, his face was grabbed as the man slammed him into the ground. He picked him up like a doll and tossed him as Kakashi broke through several trees. The man appeared behind him and kicked him straight up in the air. He then flashed above Kakashi and drop kicked him. Boom! The ground was decimated as Kakashi slammed into it. A giant fireball was sent the man away as he jumped away. The man turned as he raised his hand. His blood once again poured from his palm and created a shield that blocked the attack. As Sasuke stood there as he threw 3 kunais towards the man that were covered in explosive tags. Boom! They went off, shaking the entire area. When the smoke cleared, the man stood there. His skin had completely turned red until it returned back to normal. Not even a scratch was on him. He was completely fine. As he started to walk away, completely ignoring Sasuke, Sasuke pulled his kunai and started to run towards the man as he leaped. At the last moment Sasuke felt it, the feeling of death. The man then turned as his nails had extended. They were gonna sever right through Sasuke's body. But his nails were blocked by Naruto's blade. This time the man saw his eyes. The man was shaking to his core as both eyes connected. The same pattern. The same upside down triangle pointing towards a plus. Their eyes are exactly the same. The man then jumped back as he looked at Naruto. Sasuke, said Naruto as he stood in front of Sasuke. You and Sakura, go on. Protect Asuna. He's not that fast, so I doubt he has returned home yet. I'll hold this guy off until Kakashi gets back to his feet. Are you crazy? He will kill you. I'm the only one that can't, said Naruto. Go! I can't, said Sasuke. As Sasuke could not, his pride was too much for him to run away like this. And surely, his sensei and Naruto would die if he did run. Damn it, Sasuke, we don't have time to argue, said Naruto. Sasuke heard the dead seriousness in Naruto's tone. As Naruto saw Sakura, as she held up her kunai once again, despite her body visibly shaking in fear, as the man was releasing a bloodlust that was just compassing the entire area, as Sasuke didn't know what to do, until Naruto looked back at him. As Sasuke saw his eyes, but Naruto gave him a friendly smile. Don't worry, you're my comrade, Sasuke. I might even go as far to say friend. You and Sakura. I won't let anything happen to you. As Naruto looked towards Sakura, as she heard what he said, as he smiled towards her. Now, go. We still have a mission to keep, and this guy is after Tezuna. And besides, if I fall, you be the last line of defense. And then you can show him what a real Uchiha is like. And demolish him. I'll just weaken him a bit for you. We don't know how much bandits is around here. I'm sure they will be going after Tezuna with him alone. And if you guys stay here, he's gonna die and this mission will be worth nothing. Fine, said Sasuke. As he started to move off. As Naruto hit his eyes on the man. As Naruto gave Sasuke a nod. The man didn't go after them as he let them walk away. As Sakura glanced back at Naruto as he gave her a nod as well. The man just looked at Naruto. Manipulative, the man said, stroking his ego and his pride as the last Uchiha. Well, he's not exactly the last, but still. You. I knew there was something about you. You're just like me. If I'm not mistaken, that's my blade. And the armor. I'm just focusing now on it. That's mine as well. Although, it seems like you're not using it to its fullest. After all, my fist was able to impact through it and cause you pain that it shouldn't have. Unless I truly put a good work into it. Which I'm not. What the hell are you saying, said Naruto? The man stood there calmly, as Naruto put it together rather quickly. Ah, judging from the look on your face. Seems like you read all the letters. Natsu Uzumaki, said Naruto. The man simply gave a simple nod. But, why are you doing this, said Naruto? In nothing I read show your intentions of being evil. And yet you're out there trying to kill us. You even were looking for a way to save yourself from the darker path of giving in. Why are you doing this, Naruto asked. The man chuckled slightly, but his tone was humorless. The Natsu Uzumaki that you know, that wrote all those things, died a long time ago. Right now I am no one. I shed that name and my identity a long time ago, the man said. I've been wearing this mask for so long now, I can't tell the last time I took it off. Hiding my face on the world, because I don't want to see it, and it doesn't want to see me. You see, kid, you're too young now. You probably never learned this lesson, but you either die as a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become a monster, which I have. I'm afraid there's no going back for me, or changing me. My mission was to take down that bridge builder. But I can't help myself. The only thing that brings me any more pleasure anymore is to kill. And I'm afraid that you will be one of my next victims. You have the same eyes as me, that come with a thirst. You're young though, so I doubt you start to experience it yet. But trust me, I'm doing you a favor. A favor? Said Naruto. Yes. By killing you, kid. It's better than keeping you alive, because you won't go through what I went through. I can't allow you to do that, said Naruto. I still have people to protect. Friends, said Naruto with a smile. Don't worry. You'll see them soon because I'll kill them as well. You've turned into a monster, said Naruto. Yes, that's right. I don't hide the fact that I'm a monster, because I am one. The things I've done. The people I've killed. You're indeed right. I am a monster, he says. He started to step forward. Still alive, huh? He said as he ducked. A kunai whipping over his head. Fire style. Fireball jutsu. As Kakashi burned where the man was on point blank range, the man held up his hand as the flames scorched his arm. Well, that is what Kakashi thought was happening until the man pushed his hand right through the flames and grabbed Kakashi by the face. He ran as he smashed Kakashi through several trees. Kakashi cried out in pain as his back connected through one after another. The man then turned as he smashed Kakashi behind him, crushed another tree as he picked Kakashi out by the leg and tossed him up in the air. Blood Senmons, he said, as he fired hundreds of Senmons. Kakashi twirled in mid-air, using a few hands to release a small gust of wind that pushed him. As he collapsed down to the ground, crashing on his side. The man then held his hand out as a blade form. He then moved, as he arrived at Kakashi's neck in a second, only for it to be blocked by Naruto's extending blade. Natsu snarled as he turned and threw his blood blade straight towards Naruto, who flashed through hand sign. As he took in a deep breath, fire style. Fire dragon roar, he said as he blew a stream of flames out of his mouth that turned to the head of a dragon and roared towards Natsu. As it went right through the blood blade, the intense heat making the blood boil. Natsu called back the blood that formed a shield in front of him and took the attack head on. As Naruto appeared in front of him and swung a kick, he tried to grab Naruto's leg, but Naruto stomped both hands on the ground, twisting back. He quickly formed a small dagger out of his own blood as he stabbed it towards his leg, but Natsu jumped over it before kicking Naruto right in the face. As Naruto's head smashed in the ground, he then turned and kicked Naruto away like a ball. As Naruto crashed over where Kakashi was, Kakashi was back up on one leg. As Natsu moved towards him, Kakashi moved as well, hopping. Blade and kunai clash. Before Natsu blood blade tear right through the kunai, Kakashi cursed as the man twists and slice right through his flap jacket. A gaping hole that went straight from his shoulder going down to his waist. He then black-handed Kakashi who flipped several times. Kakashi flipped through hand sign as he did flip, released a massive torrent of flames as Natsu leaped up in the air. Hidden blood art, blood mist. As he raised his hand towards Kakashi, the blood out of his body turned into a mist that started to hover all around Kakashi. As Natsu opened his palm before he started to close it. Now, you die. Hidden blood art, blood domes, the voice, as Natsu clenched his hand, but he was no one that spoke. The blood around Kakashi started to boil and sizzle that would have incinerated a normal man if they were in there. But when he cleared away, it was being blocked, as Kakashi was completely shielded by another blood that covered him, like a dome, but some areas were broken. When Naruto dropped his hand releasing Kakashi, Kakashi had burn marks over his body, but at least he was alive. Natsu looked over. I'm afraid that you're too weak, too inexperienced to stop me, he said. As Kakashi coughed up blood from his mouth. I won't let you kill my sensei, said Naruto. Oh, and you're gonna stop me, said Natsu. I already told you. You will die here, and I'm granting you pity by doing so. Because, as young as you are, you don't want to become what you're going to become. So it's best if you just die. Natsu held out his hand as several red rods formed. He launched him in all directions as both Naruto and Kakashi jumped away. Kakashi winced in pain, as his body was in terrible pain. He tried to dodge, but rods turned and he pierced into his shoulder, slamming him straight into the earth as he was unable to move. As the blood started to seep into his own cuts and wounds, Kakashi felt his body stiffen. Now, you stay right there. As Natsu then turns attention as he ducked, but not fast enough as the blade grazed his mass, cutting into it. He vanished as he reappeared beside Naruto and grabbed Naruto by his shirt. Before he grabbed Naruto's wrist, Naruto cried as he snapped Naruto's wrist. As Naruto's blade retracted and dropped down to the ground. As Kakashi glanced up in pain, unable to help his student, as he heard Naruto cry out. As Natsu held Naruto by the throat, as he looked at him with nothing but pity. It's a shame. Maybe. If I had found a way, or found you earlier, I could have helped you. Maybe we could have helped each other. But it doesn't matter now. I wish you all the best in the afterlife. As Natsu pulled back his hand, Naruto raised his hand as Natsu grabbed it. Still fighting, huh? He snapped Naruto out of the wrist as Naruto cried. As the blood leaked from his pore and wrapped around Naruto's back, holding his hand still. Just die already. It's better for you, trust me. His blood formed several rods that ripped into Naruto's chest, pinning him down to the ground. As Naruto looked down, gaping holes all over his chest, as he coughed up blood. I'm sorry, kid, he said. It's the only way. If you'd have known what you would have turned into, you would be thanking me. But I guess you don't understand, he said. As he got to his feet, he started to walk away. Natsu felt something strange. I won't let you. He turned back with a surprised look on his face. I puncture all your organs, even your heart. How are you still alive, he said. Your blood control has not reached a level yet to keep you alive in these dire situations. I should know. Natsu tried to recall his rods, but he could not control them. As Natsu didn't understand, his eyes focused on Naruto as he could literally see the blood veins inside Naruto's body from where he was. His eyes were far more advanced than Naruto, as he could see inside Naruto the blood rushing. To his surprise, Naruto's body was siphoning off the rods, and they were going inside his organs, healing them, and they were not failing, even his heart. The rod there was completely being absorbed, and the blood was being circulated around it. As Naruto slowly picked himself up, the holes in him slowly started to close up. I won't die here, said Naruto, as he spat up more blood. I can't! As a strange orange aura exploded around him. Because if I die, you kill everyone else. And I won't let you! As Natsu narrowed his eyes. You're more interesting than I thought. This power, a tail beast, Konoha, the Nine Tails. Before he could blink, Naruto was in front of him as Naruto's nails clashed right against the mass. Natsu stepped back in surprise at the newfound speed as he watched the blood pumping through Naruto's body. This time, it was being moved at a different speed as Naruto landed his shot forward and clashed against Natsu. Natsu blocked all of his attacks though as he roundhouse kicked Naruto away, smashing through a boulder. Naruto got back up as Naruto roared as the blood shot from his body like a bullet, bursting through the entire forest. Natsu formed his blade as he sliced each and every one of them down before dashing towards Naruto, who held out his hand. A smaller blade was formed that was made from blood completely as the both of them clashed. Natsu was surprised. It's been a long while since someone was able to challenge him. As they clashed their blades together, as Natsu started to increase his speed, the fox look around Naruto started to grow, and a tail started to form as Naruto roared. A sonic wave was released from his mouth that decimated everything around. When it was clear, Natsu stood there as he looked towards Naruto, who was growling. But Naruto was still in control as his eyes were on Kakashi, was over to his side, who had passed out because of blood loss. But he could still hear it, his heart beating. As Natsu looked towards Naruto and he vanished. Naruto looked around when he felt something behind him. He turned as something slammed into his stomach. As Naruto felt pain coursing through his body. As he dropped to his knees, the cloak around him fading. If you would have learned how to work that armor better, perhaps you wouldn't have been in this condition, said Natsu. That seal should counter the effects of the fox, for now. As Naruto felt so weak, as Natsu picked him up by the hair. Just die already, he says. He slashed his sword right through the armor, carving that X in Naruto's chest. It's been a long time since someone pushed me that far. I'm surprised, well, considering that you're just like me. Figures that much. As he dropped Naruto down to the ground, it would be too troublesome to kill you by normal means. As he picked Naruto up and started to walk with him. As Naruto was losing consciousness and regaining consciousness. He didn't know what that seal did to him, but he could barely do anything. Barely even move. As Natsu brought him towards the edge of the river, as he stood on the bridge. My mission was to kill the bridge builder. Making sure that he dies was my mission, to get paid by Gato. But I can smell them, and hear their heartbeats. Gato is coming a lot of his men, and I mean a lot. Seems like he was gonna go against my deal or something. After all, I told him I had this secure, yet he's bringing so much of his men. After all, the money that we asked for was quite ridiculous. Perhaps he's going against me. I'll just have to find out about that. I'll do you a favor, kid. I won't kill your teammates, but you will still die, even though the tail beast inside of you is quite valuable. But it will take a while to set things up for us to start to hunt it. And by then it will be reformed, and here to be exact. This is a place that the Choco will be gathering, and it will be much easier to capture it once it's out. So I'll give you this death. As Natsu released Naruto, as Naruto splashed in the water, as he started to fall into the far, far depths of the ocean, unable to do anything, too weak to move. All he could think was that he failed. He was unable to save any of them, to protect them. And now he was gonna die. A few moments later, Natsu was sitting down, blood all over him, as got to appear on the bridge. And what do we have here? Where's the bridge builder? He got away, said Natsu. Huh. I thought that you were supposed to be the ideal missing in. A killer amongst men. The unstoppable shinobi. Yet here you are, lying almost dead. Pathetic, Gato said. Luckily, I was wise enough to bring my boys. Although it seems like you took care of the ninjas. Well, that doesn't matter. You fail. And now, a tool like you is supposed to be discarded, just like my other tools. So you're gonna kill me, said Natsu. As Gato looked towards one of his men, bring me his head. He must be worth something under that mask. The man stepped forward. As he nodded with a smile on his face, he pulled back his hatchet. As he stepped forward, looking quite gleefully, suddenly something happened. Gato didn't blink, so he was sure that he did not miss anything. So when his subordinate head fell right off, it was quite shocking to him, as he did not understand. As Natsu got up, just as I expected. Now, shall we? Time skip. As Natsu was standing in Gato's throne room. There, you can take whatever you want, Gato said. Please, don't kill me. It was a pleasure doing business with you, said Natsu as he looked at Gato. As Gato smiled, yeah, in time, he said. As Gato started to leave, until something ripped through his chest. Sorry, I lied. Shinobi's lied. As Gato fell face first, right into his own money. That was the last thing that he saw. Natsu pulled a scroll as he placed on the ground before going through hand sign. A wormhole opened right in the center of the scroll as it sucked everything inside. Meanwhile that was going on, Kakashi was able to regain consciousness. Kakashi felt his body unable to move. Yet, he had to do something. That is why he summoned Pakon. He was already low on chakra, but he had enough. As he was able to summon Pakon, Pakon was shocked to see the state that he was in. But Pakon had to quickly go towards Konoha. He just prayed to the heavens that Naruto was still alive. Somehow Naruto was able to stop that guy, because he wasn't killing them right now. But yet, where was Naruto? Meanwhile, back at the house, Sasuke was lucky that he got back, as he was able to deal with two of Gato mercenaries. And Sakura was afraid as she stood beside him, as they were outside while the two of them were inside. Iniri, along with his mother. Do you think you're alright? Asked Sakura. Sasuke looked towards her as he saw that she was afraid. That guy that attacked them was no joke. He looked towards her, knowing that if he said something that was bad, it would just make things worse. Don't worry, he said. They'll be fine. Hearing those words, Sakura felt a relief wash over her. Sasuke was her crush after all, and if he thought that everything was gonna be fine, Yeah, everything was gonna be fine, she thought herself. But that guy, and that evil aura, she was still afraid. Time passed as Sasuke realized that they weren't coming back. As he looked towards Sakura, "Stay here," he said. "I'll go see what is going on." Tazuna was with his family. The mission was still going on. But Sasuke can't. Sakura, you can do this. Just stay here." As she looked towards him, as she wasn't so sure. But he gave her a nod that made her believe that she could. Meanwhile, someone was moving so fast that the person left footmarks as they moved. The person was clothed in a green aura. As they struck right through the trees, making their way, they were carrying someone. As the person finally arrived towards the scene, Kakashi's eyes slowly opened when he saw green, as he realized that he was being healed by a medic. He looked up towards the kunoichi. Her hair was all disheveled. Guy looked towards Kakashi with a big thumbs up towards him. Kakashi actually smiled as he saw his rifle. Guy had carried this medic all the way out here after getting a report from the Hokage. Team 7 was in dire situations and they needed help. Kakashi didn't have the rest of the chakra to summon the other pups to go and search for Naruto and the others. Know that Guy was here though. "Guy, my students." As Guy pointed his finger in his chest, "I'm on it. You just rest up, my rival," he said. With that, he shot forward, going straight towards the house. As he was able to trap them rather easily, he came upon Sasuke. Sasuke stopped before he noticed a headband, as he breathed a sigh of relief. "Are you okay?" Guy asked. "Your sensei asked me to check up on you." "Where's Naruto?" "Naruto?" said Guy. Moments later, as Sasuke was finally able to catch up, Kakashi was being healed. "Kakashi, where's Naruto?" As a worried expression came on Kakashi's face. "I don't know," as he tried to get up. "Stop. You're in no position to get up," the medic said. "I'm surprised that you're still even alive after what you've been through." He gave her a weak-eyed smile, but his body was in too much pain to do anything else. "Sasuke, find him," said Kakashi. Sasuke nodded as he made his way off, no getting a bit worried. Meanwhile, that was going on. "Well, this is more than I expected. Gato tried to betray me," said Natsu as he looked towards the masked man. "So I took everything. I'm assuming that you killed him. Do you even have to ask? What about the Konoha team?" "I spared them. There's nothing to worry about." "Anything interesting happened?" the masked man said. "No," said Natsu as he walked off. He had been waiting all this time. He could wait some more. Meanwhile, as Guy was looking down into the water. "What's wrong?" said Sasuke. "We have to find Naruto." "Look here." As Guy pointed towards the edge. He wasn't a big tracker, but even he could see that the trail ended right here. Sasuke put it together. "Wait, does that mean..." Guy jumped off into the water. Before Sasuke could say anything else, as Sasuke waited, moments later Guy burst out as he was holding on to Naruto in his arms. Naruto was pale, incredibly so. You see, Guy rushed back towards the medic as he let Naruto down right beside Kakashi. As Kakashi turned, "Damn it," he said. "Stop." He looked towards the medic. "Him. I'm gonna be fine. Work on him." The medic turned towards the boy. He was in a bad state. "How long has he been underwater?" "I don't know," said Kakashi. As she checked his pulse, but there was nothing there. She could at least try. As she saw the look in Kakashi's eye, she could at least try for him. As Sasuke stood there, Sasuke watched, no emotion being shown on his face, as he watched the medic try to resuscitate him. After a full 10 minutes, nothing happened. As she checked his pulse once again, "I'm afraid he's gone." Everyone was silent. Kakashi didn't like this. No one did. To lose a student was the worst pain possible for a sensei. As Guy looked towards the rifle with a sorrowful gaze, but he didn't say anything. He just stood there. Meanwhile, that was going on. Naruto found himself in a strange place. He was just lying there. He couldn't feel anything, not his arms or legs. He wondered if he was dead. The last thing he remembered was being suffocated by water, his body too heavy to go up. As he just lied there, unmoving. His body in so much bliss, no pain, nothing. He couldn't feel anything. He wondered if he still had arms or legs. A dark growl could be heard as he felt himself being pulled. When Naruto blinked, he was standing in front of a cell. As two red eyes snapped open. "You're not gonna take me down with you," a dark voice said. Who are you?" said Naruto. As a fox growled, stepping into the light. As Naruto looked towards the giant fox. You're Ninetales." "Yes. And because of how weak you are, we're gonna die." As Naruto looked towards the fox. "Wait, I thought you were a massive chakra, that a Bijo couldn't be killed. The situation of my ceiling is complicated. I'm not at my full strength," said the fox as he banged against the bars, but they would not break. "I'm sorry," said Naruto. "I wasn't strong enough." The fox snarled. "You shouldn't be apologizing to me. Live and free me," the fox said. "But I thought I was dead." "You're not. As you can see that we're still here. You're giving in. Are you really just gonna die like that? Abandoning people that come to care about you as your friends?" The fox said, trying to make Naruto snap out of this giving that he was going into. The kid was not dead. The blood was still there, and he could make it start to pump once again. To make his organs snap back, his heart started to beat, but no, he was giving in. As Naruto remembered Natsu's words, as he then remembered his teammates, he couldn't just die like that, could he? He hadn't done nothing. He was just a kid, he hadn't lived his life yet. As Naruto struggled to get to his feet, he panted as he stood on his feet. "That's more like it. Now wake the hell up!" the fox shouted at him as it came out like a roar. Back in the real world, only a second had passed, as the mate just told him that he was dead. It was then that Sasuke noticed his finger twitch. "Hey, he's moving." The mate looked at him confused. "No, She paused. As she noticed his neck, she placed her finger there. "Wait, I found the pulse." Kakashi's eye lighted up at that, as Guy got a cheering smile. "Come on, young Naruto. Your fire of you cannot go out as of yet. You have not yet reached your prime. So do not falter. Rise and embrace the power of youth," Guy said. As the medic did her best, but she didn't have to do anything as she watched. As Naruto's skin tone started to return as the blood, she was looking at a strange phenomenon that happened in front of her. He was dead a moment ago, but now it didn't make much sense. But the blood was pumping through him. "He's alive," she said, as she gave him a soft smile. "He's gonna make it." Time skip. As Naruto woke up, he felt so exhausted. He felt like he hadn't moved in weeks. His legs, they felt unusable. As he twitched his toes, but they actually moved. He breathed a sigh of relief. He was alive. He remembered what happened. He remembered talking to the fox. At the moment, he wasn't even reacting like how a normal person would react, freak out or anything. After all, he already knew that he was inside of him. But still, he wasn't afraid because he thought he was gonna die. His body felt normal. No pain, he just felt exhausted. Not so really the number on him as you remember every hit, every stab. He looked down, he wasn't wearing his armor. He saw it over the corner of the room. There wasn't even a slash on it. He didn't understand. Natsu's blade cut through it so easily. Well, it was made of something more dense, it was his blood. But still, Natsu said something about not using it properly. He didn't know and he didn't understand. And what was this about giving up? He thought that the man would be a good guy. And to know that he was alive all this time, it was Rather shocking. But it seems like he never found a way to cure himself. And he wanted me to thank him. Naruto was angry. This man was literally killing him and was asking to be thanked because he didn't want him to go through what he went through. How did he know that both of them go through the same thing? He could actually do something else other than becoming a cold-hearted killer like him. As Naruto was angry, he was humiliated. He didn't stand a chance. He knew that the man took Kakashi, but he targeted him like a predator targeting your prey. As Naruto pulled himself up, as he rubbed his eyes felt strained. Making his way downstairs, he saw Tsunami. "Ah, you're awake," she said, as she gave him a kind smile. As Naruto gave her a kind smile back. As he sat down at the table, "Where's everyone?" Naruto asked. "I'm afraid they hid out my father, but your sensei is right over there," she said. As Naruto saw Kakashi outside leaning up against a tree, he was just sitting there. "Thanks," said Naruto as he got back to his feet. "I should be the one thanking you. Your pink hair friend told me that you sent her and the other boy here to protect us, while you faced off against the enemy, and that he hurt you badly. I just want to say I really appreciate your help, and what you're doing, for me and my family." As Naruto gave her a smile. "Don't worry about it," he said, as he made his way outside. Kakashi's eyes smiled, seeing Naruto. "Ah, you're finally awake," he said. "Huh. I see you're in a bad condition as well," said Naruto. As Kakashi had bandages wrapped all over him. "Well, I can at least walk," he said, as he gave Naruto another eye smile. As Naruto plopped down beside him. "He messed us up bad, didn't he?" "That he did. I almost thought I lost you there," said Kakashi. "Me too," said Naruto. "He dropped me in the ocean." "Did you know him?" asked Kakashi. "Yeah, kind of," said Naruto. "We'll have to talk to the Hokage about this. This guy is dangerous." "Yeah," said Kakashi. "He's probably an S-rank missing name." "More than that," said Naruto. "Given how long he's been around, the things he must have learned. He's the same as you, isn't he?" said Kakashi. "Yeah, but a lot stronger," said Naruto. "Wait, if you're here, who's watching over Sakura and Sasuke?" "Yush!" said a voice, as someone came running in. As Kakashi groaned, he was really thankful to Guy, but he forgot what kind of person Guy was. A loud entrance. As Naruto looked up towards Guy. "Ah, I see that you're doing a lot better now, Naruto," he said. "I'm glad that you're alright. For a moment there I thought that we lost you, but your spirit of youth had risen up beyond anything I've ever seen possible and brought you back from the brink of death." As Naruto blinked. What? As Naruto saw Sakura, she walked over to him. She then punched him over the head. "Ouch," said Naruto. "What was that for?" "That was for telling us to run away and leaving you behind. You almost died, you idiot." As she was angry. He didn't know why she was so angry. "I'm sorry," he said. "You better be. You're my friend. And I almost left you to death." Friends?" said Naruto. "Of course we're friends, you idiot," she said. "We're more than comrades." As that made Naruto happy. As he looked towards Sasuke. As Naruto gave Sasuke a smile, who gave him back a time skip. The group had returned from the land of Wave. After a mission complete, Gato was gone. No one knew what happened to him, but he was just gone, him and all of his lackeys. There was no bodies, nothing around. Natsu had made sure of that. Well, he did something that didn't leave behind any bodies. The group had returned back to Konoha. As they were currently in the office, Harrison looked towards him with a sigh of relief. When he got the urgent message from Pakon, he was worried. Hearing the state that Kakashi was in, that he was almost dying. But he was glad now to hear that all of them were okay. He had heard from another message, and he had sighed in relief. Lucky enough, Guy was fast enough and here to get there with a medic just in time. Who was this guy? Harrison asked. As this person, from the report that Kakashi had sent with Pakon when he was recovered enough, Harrison didn't get much information on him. As it was just them in the office, Gaid went off his way. After the Hokage had thanked him, he was, like me, said Naruto, cutting off Kakashi. As Harrison looked towards Sakura and Sasuke, before he could say anything, Naruto spoke up. I think they should know, said Naruto, just in case. As he gave Naruto a look, as Naruto nodded, as you wish, Naruto, Harrison said. And you say like you mean, yes, but it's him. Wait. As Naruto nodded, wait, what's going on, Sakura asked. As Naruto turned towards her, the man that we fought, his name is Natsu Uzumaki, someone from the past. I thought that he was dead, said Naruto. But guys, to be and subscribe right here. If you want the next part, do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on the bell notifications they posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in social media platform. And also, guys, stay in tune for the rest of the what's coming their way. And I hope you guys enjoy each and every one of them. But I'm out for now. See you guys soon. Peace.